Oppan Gangnam Style.
Hey, this is your Canadian accountant City, and I'm here to make sure you don't want to run to the big and beautiful US just yet. Just here to provide some thought over the new OBBBA from the US and provide some comparison on how it could impact Canada and if we would need a reform too. Hope whatever I'm saying won't be as boring as the tax return, because boring is what us accountants are known for.
And this is ICE, registered nurse and the decoder to make things more human.
What we've done is put everything into one bill. It's never happened before. It's the biggest bill of its type in history. And actually, I liked it because we had so much in there that no matter who you are, there was something in that bill.
Well, no matter who you are, there is something in that bill. Guess it doesn't include the people who got deported in the ICE raids. Oops. ICE, no offense.
No worries. We only accept intoxicated patient from special constables and won't do raid on the street. We are short on hand here. But do you have a list of what is making this bill big and beautiful? Let's hear that out and see what could be the impact to the South and us then.
Weren't, warning, the boring part is coming. I think I can use the fine print to cover the CN Tower in this case, but here we go. First, taxes. This probably what most people would like to know about. Permanent cuts for corporations and likely the wealthy. Anyone in the middle tax bracket, which has earning between $57K and $177K, can save more. Plus, there is a new 37% top tax rate instead of the old 39.6%. Basically, anyone who is earning less than $200K, you will probably save around 3 to 4% on your taxes. There are also several short-term perks for almost everyone.
What are those temporary perks then?
First, there is a tax break for the tip-earning people. They can deduct up to $25,000 in qualified tips. I guess people working in Miami restaurant can pay less tax, even they are mandatory the tips then.
I wish I got tax-free tips too.
Well, in Canada, tips were tax-free if not controlled by the employer because it will not show on your T4. But CRA wants you to track your cash tip and pay your fair share now.
I wish those people faking the illness near the intersection would report the tip they got from the Canadians' generosity as well, so they don't earn big buck and still getting the welfare payment.
But if we get tips, then we would probably need to do some explanation for ethic to our professional regulation bodies then. Regarding how the tips are treated differently, we will discuss next week when we dig deep into personal tax.
Yeah, you're right. I don't want to get my license revoked if someone considered getting the tip as financial abuse. What other perks are there then?
There's also a tax break for overtime workers. They can deduct up to $12,500, but there's a catch. It only applies the overtime premium portion, which is the 0.5 when you're working overtime. For example, if you have a $20 hourly wage and get $30 for the overtime, only the $10 extra are considered the premium and is deductible.
Sounds good if you're the people that needs to work long hours with no life, but I don't get my overtime if someone passed away and needed to do extra documentation though.
Me neither. I worked from 8 to 12 and barely kept my 8 hours of sleep. We can definitely break it down to more detail regarding what is the overtime premium in our next episode.
Well, I hope the payroll processing companies and the HR departments are ready for this, since it will be applied retrospective back to January 1st, 2025.
What we have next are the increased tax credit for having children and for seniors. The child tax credit increased from $2,000 to $2,200, and there is an additional senior deduction of $6,000. On the other hand, in Canada, we have the Canada Child Benefit that helps you to feed your kids until you kick them out at 18. But this payment will reduce if your family income over $37,000, which you probably can barely survive in Toronto. And it reduces to zero if your family income hits $330,000. You can probably survive in Toronto and afford some small extra joys. Also, we have the age amount for people that are 65 and over, but start to reduce if you are a hardworking or rich senior that is earning more than $44,000.
It sounds like the U.S. is trying to help out the rich people since it doesn't consider the income.
The child tax credit actually would be phased out if the income is more than $200K for the single filer and $400K for the married couples. And the rich people usually don't get kid. At least, that was what the statistic shows. So probably the child tax credit is not for them. Also, they don't get the tax deduction on interest for qualified vehicle loans due to income phase-out. But people like you and me, if in the U.S., we can probably get a qualified new vehicle and have the loan interest up to $10,000 up for tax deduction. This is another step that Donald take to help out Michigan along with the tariff.
But wouldn't these cuts hurt the benefits since the government would have less income now?
Definitely. That is why in Canada or the U.S. they are not called the tax agency, but Canada Revenue Agency and Internal Revenue Service. We care about the revenue. But to be fair, as a person that is working crazy hours, I think the limitation to have them working at least 80 hours per month should not be a big issue.
As a healthcare worker, I still think you are putting flame on yourself.
That is why I need you to cool this down, Ice. To be honest, this will build a wall for the people that need healthcare faster than the wall at the Mexico border. We can probably drill to more detail in the next episode. The bill also cuts SNAP benefit, or I think they call it food stamp on TikTok, by about 12%. Guess it will be less video showing how much they use the food stamp to buy and resell the grocery.
You probably need that soon if you got backfire. Well, we only accept food bank here for the international student.
I didn't do the Chinese and Italian joke that I did with my friend at work here, so I hope I'm not in the infernal. Talk about the infernal, the bill also phasing out the clean energy credit like solar and wind related to the energy company and the residential clean energy credit and a comprehensive list that is phasing out as well. Thanks to Donald to make Canada's winter reduced from 6 months to maybe like 3 months now. We will cover that list and Canadian program we have for your benefit in the later episode.
I did personally use some of the Canadian program. They don't save me a ton, but at least it's something that might incentive me to save energy usage. But as a Canadian, what could OBBBA mean to me then?
I think overall, this change aligns with the goal of keeping the talents and companies in the U.S. The deductions on the personal tax and the corporate tax and the lower tax rate, and also some of the measure that makes the middle class feel less screwed by the government, Canada might need to come up with something to keep the talents and corporation not to move to the U.S. Oh, but please have them take the illegal firearm back, please. We might see some changes coming up in the next federal budget.
Hope we see some good Canadian beef by then.
Next week, let's discuss the impact on individuals in more detail, and then the corporations the week after. Thank you for coming, and hope it is not that boring after all.
And if you have questions, send them our way.
And always, if you have any doubts, ask the CPA here or your accountant.